Hello, everyone, and welcome to A2I Dyslexia show. All Things Dyslexia is the title. And for this particular show, we'd like to say a very big thank you to the London Community Foundation for sponsoring us or funding us to be able to write on our live shows and our study skills workshop, which has been amazing for the community. Only people who are in London, unfortunately, but you can actually tap into that free study skills support that we've been kindly funded for. Today's show is we've got the amazing Manobina Chakraborty, I think is how I pronounce her surname. She will correct me when obviously I've introduced her. I always say this every day on our show that dyslexia, part of my dyslexia is pronunciation. I have actually stopped apologizing if I can't say a word because the condition is real. And these are some of the things that hinder myself or also barriers for moving forward, obviously, with the English spoken language. So there's a lot of things I can't pronounce. But, you know, when the guests come on, they'll be able to pronounce it for me. Manobina doesn't have dyslexia. She is an educationist, and she'll be able to tell us why she set up I for Inclusion, an organization based in India, which is supporting children and adults with dyslexia. Now, my name's Elizabeth Techi. I'm the founder and CEO of A2I Dyslexia, also known as Aspire to Inspire Dyslexia. Now, we are online and we are live, and I think it's so amazing because actually switching online has given us so many opportunities to connect with people around the world. And Manobina is based in India. Now, let me read a little bit about her before I bring her on, before she's actually joining as a guest. So Manobina is an inclusive education consultant and a passionate educationist with over 20 years experience. She played a key role in setting up a special education needs school in India in 2016. And she now leads her team of special educators and counselors. Manobina received the Dr. APJ Abdul Kaleem Award in 2016 for her contribution to school education in Gujarat, India. She's also the founder of I for Inclusion, providing support to neurodiverse professionals irrespective of their nationality or ethnicity. Manobina, welcome to A2I Dyslexia. How are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you, Elizabeth. How about you?
I'm
Nice
very
to
good, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Elizabeth.
You are very, very welcome. What's the time in India now?
It's actually 10 minutes past 6. We are 5.5 hours ahead from London.
Right. Okay. I just want, like, you know, our viewers and listeners to know this is pre-recorded. So just in case the time difference, someone might think, actually, that's not the time, but it is pre-recorded and we're bringing you this live. And the reason why we chose to go the pre-recorded route for people in India who are advocating for dyslexia is because of the time difference. We would normally do our live show 7 p.m. Obviously, it's not 7 p.m. in India. You'll probably be in bed at that time. So we decided to actually pre-record. So here we are, which is working really, really well. I want to give you the platform to tell me a bit about yourself and why I for Inclusion was set up.
Okay. I started my career as a journalist in a renowned Indian media group after completion of my Bachelor of Arts degree with honors in English literature. But having grown up in an academic family, I soon realized that my true calling lay in the field of education. So I left that journalism job and joined a school and started teaching English and social sciences in a reputed school in India. Later, I moved to the UK and pursued studies on inclusive education and autism spectrum disorder, and eventually started working in the autism unit of a secondary school in Glasgow, Scotland, for about 2.5 years. During that time, I developed interest in dyslexia as well, because persons who are on the autism spectrum often are dyslexic as well. So I studied about dyslexia, attended course from the British Dyslexia Association, and later from the University of London. Also, I got myself qualified to teach SEND children and young people. I realized that if one wants to work in this area, one's counseling skills have to be better. So I enrolled myself for a course on counseling skills, and later successfully completed a professional program on learning leadership from Harvard University. Of course, this is on distance learning mode. And as you mentioned, I'm leading a team of special educators, counselors, and therapists in a special school within the campus of a mainstream school in India. Yes, I played a key role in setting up this school in 2016. After coming back from the UK, I really didn't find much support for neurodivergent children and young people in this part of India. So I always wanted to develop a support system for them. I didn't have money to start a school on my own. Uh, Fortunately, the management of a reputed independent school provided me this opportunity in the year 2016, and that school is Saransh Foundation. I for Inclusion is a relatively new venture. I started it only last year. So, and it's actually a support service. I for Inclusion is a support service and a global platform where professionals, irrespective of their nationality, ethnicity, can get together and work for an inclusive and neurodivergent world. When I started this a year ago, two of my colleagues from the US, one from the UK, two friends of mine from Nigeria supported me. And together we started having webinars, workshops for parents to help their children at home. Everything was totally free of any charges. And then came the pandemic and the lockdown caused a lot of mess everywhere. People around the world lost jobs, lost loved ones, schools were shut, and perhaps the most affected were the children and young people with additional needs, and of course their families. So I joined hands with specialists across the world and started my Facebook live show, Let's Talk Inclusion, to help parents to homeschool their children. Also, we developed some homeschooling resources for neurodivergent children and young people, especially those who are dyslexic, and launched a customized parent empowerment program. Uh, if you want to know about this program, Elizabeth, I can tell you about that as well. Should I?
Yes, please. Yes, do tell me about the
That
program. Yeah.
program is called Empower. It is an abbreviation. It stands for Encourage and Motivate Parents by offering workable educational resources. In this program, first we assess a child online. It's purely a psychoeducational assessment. We have a psychologist on board. She helps a lot in this assessment process, and accordingly, we train parents to help the child at home. It is a certified but customized program. Let me give you an example. Suppose a child is certified as dyslexic, but her dyslexia is due to phonological deficit. That means she has difficulty decoding or assembling words based on their sounds. So we develop a program where her mother will learn to address this phonological deficit at home. In another instance, suppose a child doesn't have much phonological deficit as such, but she has a speed or naming deficit. She is slow in reading, faces challenges in using sight words, or maybe has comprehension deficit. She can read but can't understand what was just read. So, in these two or three instances, our Empower program will be designed differently. It will be a completely uh, customized program developed as per the specific need of a child. And we are also designing professional development programs for dyslexia as well as ACND as a whole. We'll be launching them soon. And our global collaboration is our biggest strength. And I for it.
Wonderful. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you do. You're the founder of I for Inclusion. I think it's such a wonderful name for an organization. And you're not actually based in India right now, are you? You're in Canada. Is that right? You live in
No,
Canada?
no, I was in Scotland previously.
Mhm.
I'm basically an Indian. I was in
Oh,
India all
mhm,
my life, but I spent a few years in Scotland.
mhm.
And for the last 10 years, I'm back in India. So I'm working in India for the
Oh,
last
you're
10
in
years.
India. Okay. I think I've got you confused with somebody else that I've been speaking to who is actually based in Canada. Wow. Now that's amazing. Do you know what? I'm going to ask you a question, and it's a very burning question I have to ask you. What is dyslexia perceive as in Indian community? Are you, which city are you in? Which city are you in?
I'm in Gandhinagar. It is actually adjacent to Ahmedabad,
Mhm.
in the western part of India.
Right. So tell me the perception of dyslexia and specific learning difficulties within your community. How is it
It,
seen?
it's a stigma.
Hmm.
The children are tagged as lazy and stubborn, and it's a complete stigma. People do not have much understanding of what dyslexia is till today.
Mhm. So you've set up a school and it's called I for Inclusion. And how many children are there in that school? And
I
then
for I
mm,
for Inclusion is not a school. I for Inclusion is my support service. The
support
school
services.
is the school where I am, which I help uh, in founding, which I initiated. You can say that school's name is Saransh Foundation. We started with 5 children in 2016, and now we have 65 children on board.
How many children are there in the school in total? How
Uh,
many?
six, in that unit, we have 65. In
Yeah.
Saransh Foundation, we have 65.
So
All
across,
of them, all of them are neurodivergent children, and about 30 of them are dyslexic.
right. Okay. Okay. Now, across the school, how many pupils are there? I just want to get like a statistic of how many people there
See,
is and how many have got dyslexia.
this school is located within the campus of a mainstream school,
Right.
and that's a huge independent mainstream school, uh, catering from the age of 3 to 18, and we have about 3,500 students and about 250 staff members, teachers. So it's a huge school. So this school is completely separate. And how
Yeah.
many children and young people are dyslexic in that school? I really do not have that
Yeah.
idea.
You're not going to know. Yeah, of course. But so
Because
far, yeah, so far
uh,
you're teaching 65 children who have got
65
specific
children.
learning.
And they are not part of that school,
Yeah.
that bigger school. They took admission in Saransh Foundation because they are certified as dyslexic, or they having specific learning disabilities.
Right. Okay. So you talk about stigma. Just give me a little bit of a scenario of how dyslexia and other learning difficulties are viewed within the Indian community.
See, when I came here, in this part, I don't belong to this part of the country. I'm from the eastern part of the country, but now I'm here in the western part. So when I came 10 years ago, and I found a child in a class in some other school. It was also an independent school, and I found a child, of course, had some learning difficulty, and I thought the child was on the autistic spectrum as well. So I went to meet the head teacher. We call them principal here in India. I went to meet the principal and told him that I think this particular child falls under autistic spectrum, and he has all the dyslexic traits. So I think we should approach his parents and we should ask them to go for a screening. But the principal said, no, we can't. And I asked why. And he said, you cannot call a child crazy. You cannot tell his parents that he is mad. I said, no, he is not. He's not at all mad. Autism spectrum is a neurological condition, so is dyslexia. And if the child is screened, if the child is certified, we will be able to provide him with some accommodations and interventions. And that is why I want to speak to his parents. But I was not allowed. That was a scenario 10 years ago. And that school was well aware of the fact that I'm qualified to teach children with special educational needs and disability, but they uh, made me a teacher in the mainstream classroom. So I started teaching English and social sciences, and I found there were children who had specific learning difficulties, but I was not allowed to provide an intervention. I'm talking about the school I used to work with
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah. So where is that child now, do you think? What happened to that particular child who the principal thought, otherwise? What's
I
happened
really,
to that child?
I really left that school, and I'm sure the child has also left that school.
Right. Now, this is why it's really important that we bring the awareness of dyslexia and specific learning difficulties. And this is why I think having HY Dyslexia platform and on all the other platforms that speak about dyslexia and obviously awareness of dyslexia, it's really important, particularly within the BAME, which is BAME community. It's so important because that's not the case. Having dyslexia does not mean, or even autism in that sense, does not mean that, you are mad or crazy or whatever people come up with. I know you said that's 10 years ago, but I'm wondering if that's still some of the perception within some of the community.
But scenario has changed a little.
Since then.
I can say a little.
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much. Right. Wonderful. You're still doing amazing work. Even if one child gets the help that they need, you have made a change in the world. And us being online now, it's so global that you can share and someone else can share and another person can share. And before you know, I hope it will get to the principal's, desk or in his social media, and he would understand that's not the perception of dyslexia.
There are government policies in India where you cannot deny admission to a child who is autistic or dyslexic or having specific learning difficulty. But in spite of that, the schools do deny admissions because they say that we really do not have sufficient trained human resource. But policies are there. I'm not sure about the implementations as such.
Right. Okay. So how can we make learning more fun for children with dyslexia?
The learning should be activity based. I believe in learning by doing. As an early intervention, I prefer a collaborative effort by the teacher and the therapists in school. Like in our school, Saransh Foundation, we have occupational therapists, ABA therapists, play therapists. I'm a play therapist myself. So ours is an IEP-based curriculum, individualized education plan. So we use a combination of a lot of occupational therapy exercises, play therapy techniques, and ABA reinforcements while teaching a child to read and write. We use alphabet pebbles, letter stickers to make words initially. Also, we ask parents to buy alphabet fridge magnets at home and help the child to make words with them. And now, since the online classes are going on, we made it a point that parent must sit with the child and participate in all the activities. We have a 30-minute class per subject. We prepare nice videos and colorful presentation ask the parent to make use of household things to give the teaching and learning a multi-sensory approach. We ask them to have their child hear it, say it, touch it, and move with it during every lesson. Just an example, I can give you an example. We ask the child to bring a squeeze-style ketchup bottle and write on a plate. parents help the child in the process and focuses the camera on the plate so that we can see what the child is actually doing. Sometimes we ask them to get shaving cream. If they have a chocolate pudding in the fridge, they can bring that as well. We ask the parent to bring a tray full of salt and have the child write words on this. And Indian kitchens are actually full of uh, resources. We have different types of pulses with different colors and textures. We have all the different spices to cook food on regular basis. So we make use of all of them and make children form letters on them by moving fingers. We use a lot of colors while writing, and we draw a picture of the object while teaching a child a particular spelling. We use a lot of craft materials as well. Would you like to see a video?
Yeah, I'd love to see a video, but before we show the video, the way you've
Yeah,
described how children are learning is how I learned when I was younger.
yeah,
And I think the reason why you say you ask parents to bring in salt and shaving cream and all the other things is because lack of resources, isn't it? In your case, back in
yeah.
India. So you're actually asking parents. So I just want to take this opportunity just to say to our viewers, if anybody's watching and if they're able to connect with Manobina on LinkedIn, and if you can support her in any way and any shape or form that you can, in terms of maybe a little bit of donation for the school to be able to buy materials to teach your children, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And if you've just actually, you're watching this video, I just want to say it's pre-recorded. So if you have got any message that you want to drop, you can actually leave the comments and messages and we will get back to you. You can also connect with Manobina on all the different social media platforms that our producer, it's just literally put up now. So without further ado, I'd love to see that video. Yes, please. If we can see the video, that'd be
Yes,
amazing.
dyslexia craft one. Some skills.
Wonderful. Now
Uh,
talk me through that
yes.
video. What was going on there?
This is actually the second video which I wanted to show to you. I just wanted to show this to you to tell you that how we teach our children to make shapes. So I will come to that, but I had one more video to show to you right now. Is that okay? Can I
Yes,
show
go
that
ahead.
video now?
Yes.
So, yeah, this is the way we teach children, and they all of them are young persons. They are in the 14 to 16 years age group, and they're severely dyslexic. So I teach them in this way.
Wow, you're doing amazing work, Mahbina. Doing really, really amazing work. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for sharing that video with us. Now, like I said, it's a pre-recorded show. So if you've got any comments, you can drop those comments. We will add Mohibina's links, i.e. LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, and all the different platforms she's on to our caption when we share this video. So you can contact her direct. I will plead with you, if you can support the school by donating a small amount of money. I'm sure Mohibina will set up some kind of GoFundMe or just give page. And if you can support, that would be really amazing, because resources are a huge problem for the school at the moment, i.e. I for Inclusion organization.
It's
Thank you
like,
for sharing.
yeah, it's a support service actually.
Support service,
So
yeah.
we generally, the independent schools are quite expensive, and all these therapies and education, special educations are also very expensive. So through this platform, I for Inclusion, I would like to help parents, and maybe by paying their fees for an independent school. So it's always good if we can have some crowdfunding.
Oh, that'd be amazing. So you can set that up then, and we can start. We can all perhaps, every little helps. See
Yes.
what people who are watching, what they can do to support you. Thank you very much for that. Now, why is representation of dyslexia very important? I just thought I'd move on to my next question. Why is it very important within the, for example, the Indian community or the BAME community?
See, representation of dyslexia is very, very important because there is not much awareness about dyslexia even today in India, Indian community and the BAME community, as you said. And as I told you earlier, there is a stigma attached to it. Dyslexic students have been tagged as lazy, stubborn, or dumb students in schools world over. In India, the awareness is very, very poor. Dyslexia is anyway a challenge for any person, and it becomes even more challenging when it is not diagnosed. The awareness is so poor in India that India being a multilingual country, we really do not have proper screening tools. Screening tools are generally developed only in English, but we have 22 official languages in India. So apart from the screening tools that are available in English, we use another screening tool called DALI, that is Dyslexia Assessment for Languages in India. And it is available in 3 more languages. And since the population of India, which is 1.366 billion in 2019, this population speaks in 22 languages. So uh, the native speakers of all other 18 languages stand really a slim chance of being diagnosed. So this is because of we are not awareness and acceptance. These two are very, very less in India. That
Wonderful.
is why representation is very important. And
Absolutely.
because of lack of awareness and trained human resource, a very small percentage of only the urban population goes for a screening. Rural India has hardly heard about dyslexia. And I'm sure you have seen the same in the BAME community, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. In the Black community, yes. Yeah. I mean, statistically in the UK, it's 1 in 10 will have dyslexia. And to be honest with you, I would say for the Black community, I'm not going to sit here and generalize for everybody, but there is still a long way to go. And where we struggle a lot more is Black teachers and Black assessors, and we are, trying to to bring that change if we can. It
Yeah,
is a long way to go. Yeah.
yeah, I also believe the same thing. We have a long way to go, and for that, the dyslexia stories should come out in public. not only their challenges, but also their successes. I watched a movie called Michael recently. Have you watched that?
No, I haven't. No.
It is based on the true story of a dyslexic British entrepreneur, Mr. Mike Jones, the CEO of Messy Learning. It's a wonderful
Okay.
interpretation of a true story. There should be representation of stories as such. Only then the true awareness will be created, and that eventually will lead to a greater acceptance,
Of
I feel.
course. Of course. Thank you so much, Mahibina. You've been amazing in coming on to A2I Dyslexia live show. Like I said, it's been pre-recorded because of the time difference, all things dyslexia. You're doing amazing work. You are doing fantastic work. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to help the
Thank you.
people that you are helping. And one day, we'll get all these messages across and we'll be able to make a huge difference. I'm sure you are making a difference now, but I do agree with you. The more awareness, i.e., a film like Michael. Recently, I watched something called Small Acts, and it was to do with Steve McQueen, who is a dyslexic himself. And one of the episodes was about a young black boy in a class who's got specific learning difficulties, and I absolutely loved it. And I just want to say a massive thank you to the actor, John, I can't pronounce his name, I think it's Bayogo, I think, and also the Leroy, who was part of this small, Leroy Hogan, who's actually published a book. And as part of the Small Acts series, was something to do with specific learning difficulties, and I really did love watching that. And I think we do need definitely more awareness when it comes to BAME and dyslexia, Black and Asian communities. Now, is there anything you want to say or share with our viewers before we go? Is there any advice you can give to a parent who's watching?
I generally give three tips, three tips to the parents who come to me uh, uh, on how they can support their dyslexic children outside school. So if you want me to share that, I can do that.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I generally tell them that first and foremost, help your children build a positive self image. That is very, very important. Make a plan based on their strengths, not on their challenges. For example, you are trying to teach your child shapes. You have a book where, suppose it is written, pentagon has 5 sides or hexagon has 6. Your child has problems, has difficulties with reading. So she is kind of avoiding looking at the book. So get her some straws, some pencils, some sketch pens, and help her make the shapes. She will surely learn. The video which I showed to you by mistake just a few minutes ago, that was on that actually. And if your child is at home and there are expectations of schoolwork to be done, having a structure to your day is very, very important. Decide together how the days are going to be spent. Routine can help give clarity to expectations and help everybody to be more productive, I feel. So, when will you wake up? Decide that. When will you finish your work for school? Decide that as well. You may do half an hour's exercise of some kind together, then prepare lunch together and make a pizza or maybe bake a cake or do a recipe which can help with fractions, weights, measures, etc. Maybe planting some seeds in a pot can involve biology and counting, measuring, etc. So, learning doesn't have to be formal at all times, and it can be a lot of fun. So, parents know their children more and can make it age appropriate as well. And the last tip, which I generally give to parents, is um, this is the most important tip for a parent who has a child with dyslexia. Let your child see you read. Take a book with pictures in it. As you go through the book, discuss how the pictures give clues to words on the page. And this is a strategy they can apply for themselves later when trying to understand and decode text. Dyslexia is a condition. Sooner we accept it, better it is for us or our children to overcome it and shine in life. So these are the things I just wanted to say to the parents.
Thank you so much. And I couldn't agree with you more. Children are our, next generation, future generation. And of course, we have to invest in our children by, making sure that they even understand what dyslexia is. I think it's important that we explain that to the individual child who has got the condition. Now, dyslexia can also have an overlap. Somebody might have dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, ASD, autism, or one person could have all those conditions. I have 3 or 4. I have dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia. I also have visual stress, Erlin syndrome, which without my glasses, a lot of things, it's difficult to read. So on that
But
note,
yours is a very, very inspiring story, Elizabeth, I must say. So people should know about you as well. With so many challenges in so many areas, you are doing so well for yourself as well as for others. So
thank
this is
you.
a true representation of dyslexia, and more people should come to know about you, I think so.
Thank you very much, Mohibina. And of course, I don't do this on my own. We have an amazing live show producer in the background who's putting it all together. HY Dyslexia is not just me. There's a group of us, or should I say team of us, that make everything possible. So Rachel, who does all the research and put all this together, Richard, who's in the background, the live show producer, our board of directors, our friends of A2I, the volunteers, the team, we all make it possible to bring this forward. And of course, our partners that we work with and the funders who fund our live show as well. On that note, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us all the way from India. Keep up the amazing work you are doing. Keep going. And if you do end up setting up the GoFundMe page, or I forgot all the other pages that they are, do let us know and we will share it as well on our social media platform, and we take it from there.
Thank you,
Thank
Elizabeth.
you.
Love to collaborate with all of you in near future, and we
course.
keep in touch. Thanks a lot,
Awesome.
Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mohibina. Keep up the good work. Look after yourself. Everybody that's watching at the moment, or you obviously when you watch it in your own time, if you've got any comments or any advice or anything that you want to, contact Mohibina, of course, do drop us an email. We can forward it to her, or all her social media platforms are there as well. You can contact her direct. She's very, very good at responding on LinkedIn. So, and that's where we found her. So please do connect with her and see how best together we can bring change to the dyslexic community. Thank you for watching, everybody. See you next time, same place. Bye for now.